So what are the cognitive benefits of working in actions or practicing actions? First of all, you will recognize that you are working, and you'll actually basically get credit for the work that you do. This means that you get to pat yourself on the back every 25 minutes for just sitting down and focusing and making some progress towards your goal. As opposed to, well, let's take for instance, say you have a 4-hour task that you have to write this paper, and it'll take you 4 hours. How often do you feel good about that if you're not working in actions? Probably at the end of the 4 hours when you actually get to complete it, right? Well, if you're working in actions, you definitely get that feeling at the end when you finally complete it, but you're also more conscious of every single milestone of work put in. So if it took you 8 actions to complete the paper, at the end of each of those actions, you get to pause, like give yourself credit, like, hey, I just put in 25 minutes of work. Take a 5-minute break to make sure that it's sustainable, that you're not going to burn out 2.5 hours into it and then drop it and then not finish it until a day or two later when you recover, which is what some version of that has happened to me and perhaps to some of you. So basically for the same piece of work, you can get credit once or you can get credit 9 times. Which one is better? The second cognitive benefit of actions is that you get to recognize and overcome your blocks. An action seals off the exits. And it's not a hard one, so if something absolutely has to happen, you can just interrupt the action. You don't get credit for it, but that's not a big deal. But what I'm talking about is the little subtle things, little subtle ways that we get distracted from our work. For instance, say you're working on sending out an email, and all of a sudden you get this craving to go to the restroom or to have a snack or to work on something else. Generally, those are not random. The reason why you took your focus off of what you're doing is that you're looking for an escape hatch. You're looking to not deal with some emotional difficulty of the work that's actually in front of you. Now, if you're not working in actions, what do? You actually go to the restroom, then coming out, like maybe your cell phone rings and you get distracted, and all of a sudden, by the end of the day, you're like, well, what happened to that email I was writing? And you don't know. But if you're actually within that tight container of 25 minutes, where you know that if you're distracted for more than 10 seconds, you have to interrupt your action and basically say, I didn't make it. I wasn't able to stay focused for 25. All of a sudden, there's something at stake. And because there's something at stake, although, again, it's light, because ultimately, if you need to, you can leave. But there is something at stake. Completing an action kind of matters, or at least we're pretending that it matters. Then you will actually stay there, and it's easy even to just sit there and you look at it and like, okay, what don't I want to face? And then you're like, okay, I can get through it, and you get over the hump a little bit, and you can work a little bit more. It gets easy again until you get to the next hump where you would leave for the restroom, and you get over that too. And before you know it, the 25 minutes are up. So you do get your escape hatch, but it just comes in 25 minutes. So you stop working at a preset time, which means that you're not going to stop working whenever you're having a hard time. That's really, really important. The third cognitive benefit of working in actions is that you get to really develop a relationship with time. I'm actually getting chills just saying that, because this is important. This is my life. And I've spent so much of my life doing things like playing computer games or just kind of like going through the motions, unclear, like not enjoying myself, not really celebrating, playing, being social, nourishing myself, and also not getting anything done. I'm just kind of in between this nebulous way. That doesn't happen anymore. And the reason it doesn't happen is that I value my time. I know exactly how much half an hour of my time is worth. It's worth 25 minutes spent making progress towards something I care about, plus a 5-minute break that rejuvenates me. Now, do I want to be playing Settlers of Catan online? I haven't that much. The only time I do is when I have some emotional block, and we'll talk about that in a future actions benefit video. But basically, I know how much my time is worth, and because of that, even when I'm not working in actions, I just have this self-respect, and I honor every moment of my life. And I'm wondering if you can say the same if you're not working in actions. The other part of the relationship with time is that we actually don't often know how long it takes. It's a constant experience. As I have a new client, they start working in actions. They're like, I had no idea. They're like, I spent 25 minutes and all I did is kind of learn how long this thing would take me. Whereas you're like, generally we're really hard on ourselves, or we estimate low on how long things will take. We're just not very realistic about that. That's not how we're wired for. So what happens when you're working in actions is you get really clear. It took me 3.5 actions to write this paper, and that's really useful. And we'll talk more about prediction, especially level 3 actions. The fourth and final cognitive benefit of working in actions is that you actually develop your ability to play and rest. When it's all one thing, when you're just kind of sitting there and working, you don't experience a fully engaged work state, but you also don't really, you don't have anybody looking over your shoulder saying like, hey, are you resting enough? Are you playing enough? Are you actually are you nourishing yourself? And the action structure does. That's what the 5 minutes are for. So when I started working in actions, it was a strange benefit at first, but I actually put more focus on how to play for every break. Imagine asking yourself 10 times a day, what would feel good right now? And actually following through with that. That's what I do. So at the end of every action, because you can talk about it being in service of the next action, but what I'm saying is that it's actually worthwhile just in service of in the moment feeling good. Learn to listen to your body and ask, what do I need right now? Do I need a cup of tea? Do I need to stretch or do some push-ups or sit-ups to get embodied because I'm kind of like, or do I need to just lay down and do absolutely nothing? All of those are worthwhile things. So to review again, the 4 cognitive benefits of working in actions. 1 is give yourself credit for the work that you are doing. 2, you get to recognize and overcome your emotional blocks for particular pieces of work. 3, you develop and grow your relationship with time and learn to honor your time more. And 4, you develop your ability to play and rest.